You are listening to the Adult Sabbath School Lessons for the third quarter of 2022. This is lesson number 2 of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide in the Crucible with Christ. This lesson is titled The Crucibles That Come and is ready for teaching on July 9. The author is Pastor Gavin Anthony, who was conference president in Iceland when he wrote this series of lessons. Today your lesson is read by Dr. Percy Harrold. Wednesday, July 6. Crucibles of Purification. Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 7 reads, "Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will refine them and try them, for how shall I deal with the daughter of my people?" If the Spirit of God brings to your mind a word of the Lord that hurts you, writes Oswald Chambers in My Utmost for His Highest, page 271, you can be sure that there is something in you that He wants to hurt to the point of its death. Let's read that again. If the Spirit of God brings to your mind a word of the Lord that hurts you, you can be sure that there is something in you that He wants to hurt to the point of its death. How can we understand the quote and the text above? What has been your own experience with the pains involved in the purification process? Read Jeremiah chapter 9, verses 7 to 16. God says that He will refine and test or melt Judah and Jerusalem in verse 7. What 2 reasons does God give for this in verses 13 and 14? And how will the refining happen? We read about that in verses 15 and 16, but let's start Jeremiah 9 at verse 7. "Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will refine them and try them, for how shall I deal with the daughter of my people? Their tongue is an arrow shot out. It speaks deceit. One speaks peaceably to his neighbour with his mouth, but in his heart he lies in wait. Shall I not punish them for these things, says the Lord? Shall I not avenge myself on such a nation as this? I will take up a weeping and wailing for the mountains, and for the dwelling places of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up, so that no one can pass through. Nor can men hear the voice of the cattle. Both the birds of the heavens and the beasts have fled. They are gone. I will make Jerusalem a heap of ruins, a den of jackals. I will make the cities of Judah desolate, without an inhabitant. Who is the wise man who may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of the Lord has spoken, that he may declare it? Why does the land perish and burn up like a wilderness, so that no one can pass through? And the Lord said, Because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, nor walked according to it, but they have walked according to the dictates of their own hearts, and after the Baals, which their fathers taught them. Therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the Gentiles, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them until I have consumed them. God's refining and testing involve drastic action. There are perhaps 3 reasons why refining and testing may feel like a crucible. First, we experience pain as God allows circumstances to bring our sin to our attention. A little earlier, Jeremiah unhappily writes in Jeremiah 6:29, "The bellows blow fiercely to burn away the lead with fire, but the refining goes on in vain. The wicked are not purged out." Thus, sometimes drastic action is needed in order to get our attention. Second, we experience anguish as we feel sorrow for the sin we now see clearly. Third, we experience frustration as we try to live differently. It can be quite uncomfortable and difficult to keep choosing to give up the things that have been so much a part of us. And so to finish today, think about the sins that you struggle with. If God were going to refine and test you today, how might He do it? What action could you take now to deal with this before God would need to take drastic steps with you, as he did with Israel? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.